Dan Dickau here, Scorebook Live, Washington, getting a chance to sit down with a number of coaches over the course of the summer and talk about their programs. Manny Melo from Battleground with us here today. First time getting back to the state tournament since 2001. It's a pretty big accomplishment. It's pretty exciting because when you look at Battleground, for a number of years, they were the power in Southwest Washington. What did that mean to you and your program to get back to the state tournament last year?
It meant a lot. We had a lot of guys. Actually, our whole team stick together throughout the fall and the spring and the summer, and basically played year-round for almost a year and a half since the previous season had ended. And they just all worked really hard in the weight room, on the court, and for them to see all that hard work pay off with a successful trip to the Tacoma Dome was pretty cool. So it was great and put us back on the map a little bit. So that was awesome.
One of the things that I've always admired is when a program has a complete turnaround. Mount Spokane here in the Spokane area, they had a very similar turnaround as well. And it almost a lot of times comes with a coach with a new philosophy, a fresh outlook on things, and then players buying in. Would you say that it was a combination of a different set of eyes from you about what was going on with the program as well as young players that have bought in?
Yeah, a coach, and all the coaches are going to say you're only as good as your players are. And I had a lot of really good players last year and have some great players returning this year as well. So hopefully we can, continue winning some games. But, I attribute it a lot to them because they bought in and listened to everything I said and just did a phenomenal job with everything. But, I just put my own twist on things, and I coached previously at another school and used a lot of those same plays from where I came from, and had a little bit of success there, not as much as I'm having now, but I just do what I believe in, and our players believed in it, and we did a great job, so it was awesome.
So many times when people think of the state of Washington in basketball, the first place they think is the Metro League in Seattle, and rightfully so. They've had a number of good players, guys that have gone on to be pros, but I think the Southwest Washington, the Greater St. Helens League, is vastly underrated. If you look at the number of players that have come out of that area, if you look at the state titles, Evergreen, Union in the last 15 years or so, talk about just how good basketball is down in the Vancouver area.
It's very, very competitive. We had a great league last year with Skyview, Union, Camas, us. And it's going to be great again this year. Union is extremely deep. They can go 10, 11 guys deep on their roster. Skyview's loaded. Coach Gruler does a great job with them over there. And Camas has, like 6 or 7 summer teams right now playing. They just have, an enormous amount of kids in their program. So there's just a ton of talent down there. And then there's just a lot of individual talent, whether it's at Evergreen or Fort or those places. Prairie has had some great guys. So there's just a lot of dudes down there that I think go unnoticed because of, like you said, all the hype up in Seattle. So there's some good basketball down there.
You talk about how many good programs that maybe get overlooked in Southwest Washington. Players don't get overlooked anymore because of the opportunities to be seen, whether it's on the AAU circuit or high school coaches like yourself who do a nice job of getting out and promoting their guys. If there's one player in Southwest Washington maybe that's, I guess you could say, overlooked right now, who might it be and at what school?
I'll speak for my guys right now. I have 2 guards, Brendan Beal and Nate Millspaw. They play extremely hard. They shoot the 3 ball really, really well, and from deep too. And obviously that's kind of where basketball's going, is a lot more of the three-point game. So those 2 guys in my program. One guy that's coming up big time right now for Union is Tanner Toulson. The guy's a stud. He comes from an NBA background family. He's going to be a really, really nice player going into his senior year this year. Kyle Gruler is another guy from Skyview that is a phenomenal player. And then small school, probably Peyton Brammer from Hawkinson, 6'4", 6'5", dual kid with football and basketball. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what he does. But I was fortunate enough to coach him his freshman year, but he's going to be a stud as well.
You mentioned a lot of guys that maybe you either play in the regular season or in summer league. If I were to ask that question to another coach, they would probably give me the name of one of your players. Kaden Perry is seemingly popping up on a number of college coaches' radar. Describe his game really quickly and what he brings to the table.
Real athletic. Second jump is crazy. He gets off the floor instantly, gets off the floor again instantly. Great rim protector. His offensive game has really blossomed into kind of a full all-around game. He's developed a little bit of a jumper in the last year or so. His rebounding is phenomenal. He goes out of his area, gets the ball. He's a great teammate, really humble. He's had a lot of comparisons to Brandon Clark, who just obviously got drafted into the NBA. Their athletic ability and game sets are very, very similar. So he's exciting to see, where he might end up.
Put you on the spot really quickly. I know you grew up in Southwest Washington. You know the history of Battleground High School and some of the good players. Pick one. McKnight from way back in the day, Andy Burley, Richie Fromm, Mike Brotherton, Josh Behrens, Troy Stigman, or Kaden Perry. Who you taking?
Oh, man. I'm going to be that guy, and I'm going to go with John McKnight. I mean, I never got to see him play, but I have a coach on our staff who was actually his teammate back in the day, and the stories I hear are just unbelievable. And the guy is the all-time leading scorer at Battleground without a three-point line, and there was no dunking allowed. And he had, over a 40-inch vertical. He had a little run at UW when he was over there, but it's pretty crazy to score. I think it's just over 1,700 points without a three-point line and no dunking, so that's pretty crazy.
Having grown up in that area, I've heard that name many times. So that actually brings up one more question. You're a young coach that kind of had their eye on getting into coaching. You're at Battleground. One of the best coaches that I've ever come across at the high school level was Butch Blue. I've talked to you a little bit in the past and read some things where he's been a mentor of yours. What does Coach Blue mean to you and the Battleground program to this day?
It's been great. He definitely kind of popped his head in a little bit more last year when we were starting to make a state run. Just being around our program has meant a lot. He talked to our guys just before we went up to the Tacoma Dome last year, and I've met with him multiple times throughout even this season, getting ready to go into fall next year. And he was just at practice just 2 or 3 days ago, popped his head in and just had a few words for me. And it's been a lot for a guy that has been around basketball and basically kind of developed the whole deal down there for Battlegrounds to just be willing to work with us, I guess. It's been phenomenal, so I've been super excited with that.
Well, he's Manny Melo, Battleground High School's head coach, looking to get them back to the state tournament. For Scorebook Live Washington, I'm Dan Dickau.